All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Industry, Manufacturing, and Construction Career Panel. We are doing this today because we want to provide students with encouragement and real-world career information. And so we have invited individuals from construction, from manufacturing and industry to be with us today, and they're going to provide us with information, again, both to encourage you and to inform you. They're going to talk about their journey to their chosen career, and they're going to talk about the employment opportunities that they have, and also provide you with information to help you as you go to pursue your education and career opportunities. So, if we could start with Mr. Alex, if you could introduce yourself to our today.
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Alex Ruiz. I work for Encore Electric Delivery. We are the electric delivery company, power company for a majority of Texas, all the way from Midland, Odessa, through DFW onto East Texas and Tyler, all the way down south to Lufkin, Nacogdoches, and Round Rock. That's kind of our territory there. My position is the distribution operations control manager. We currently here we oversee the power grid for about 1.5 million customers, and whenever the lights go out, we are the ones who identify it and respond to it and send somebody out to get the lights back on, most of the time before the customers even know that their lights are off. So I'm glad to be able to get onto this call because we just got completed our preparation for the Hurricane Laura that just came through. So we've been dealing with that since early this morning, and thankfully it missed most of Texas, and unfortunately it's got to hit somebody, but thankfully it missed us. So did I answer all the questions? Is there anything I was missing?
Yes, sir, and provided some good information as well. So thank you very much. All right, Mr. Joshua, if you could introduce yourself to us today.
Yeah, I'm Josh Varnado. I own and operate the GCH Construction Group. We're a residential home builder and renovation company that's been in the DFW area for just over 40 years now. So that's about it.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Bartz, if you would like to introduce yourself at this time.
Yes, hello. I'm Jerry Bartz. I'm in the Geospatial Technology program at Brookhaven College. Uh, we are currently involved in evaluating sensors that are used in the construction industry. Particularly, our specialty is interior sensors, so that we can go and look at things spatially. You can incorporate Ribbit into it, a lot of CAD into it, and you can create virtual simulations for your customers and move your equipment in and out with correct GPS accuracy on inside buildings using a lot of the new LiDAR technology. So I've had experience. This is my third career, as I like to talk to students. The workplace is very dynamic. It demands that you change. I started out as a geochemist, got interested in engineering when I was assigned to environmental programs inside of our nation's most sensitive nuclear plants. So I worked closely with engineers. And then when I came back into the educational field, they put me into the area where it looks like a map, but actually it is all 3D simulation of what the Earth conditions are like. So it's an exciting field.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Miss Tillman, could you introduce yourself, please? Is Tanya Tillman?
Hmm?
Could you introduce yourself, please? Okay, LaTanya. All right, well, how about I introduce myself? My name is Crystal Artridge, and I currently serve at the Northlake campus of Dallas College in the Career Development and Employment Services Office. Our job is to help students to matriculate through the educational system and then to assist them with finding employment. So that was one of the reasons that we assembled this panel today, to provide students with an opportunity, to give them an opportunity to ask individuals who are actually in the industry that they are pursuing, to give them quality, real world information. We believe that the information that they are given will help them to successfully go through, achieve their academic as well as their career goals. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. That is the reason for us assembling this panel. So want to kind of provide them with some information. So we have composed some questions, and I've shared those questions. And so we're going to start out with the questions. We can start out with Mr. Alex. If you will answer for me, please, what was your college major?
Sure. Yeah. So I started out with it's applied engineering technology. It specialized in automation and robotics, and it basically had to deal with a course of heavy in electronics, industrial electronics, and electrical power distribution.
Okay. And Mr. Josh? Oh, where? I'm sorry, Mr. Josh. Where did you go to school, Mr. Alex?
Yes, I went to the TSTC, Texas State Technical College, over in Sweetwater in West Texas.
All right, very good. Okay. All right. And then Mr. Josh, if you could share with us what college you attended and what was your major. Okay, his sound.
Hear me now?
Yes.
You got me now? Okay. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
I attended the University of Texas at Austin for longer than I'd like to say. Took me a little while. Got a bachelor's degree in finance. Entered the finance field for about 2 or 3 years. Realized I wasn't cut out for suit and tie and all that entailed. My dad ran a home building company here in Dallas, and I decided to join with him, and I took it over approximately 15 years ago or so. So that's kind of where I'm at.
All right. And then Mr. Bartz, would you like to share? Introduce.
Okay. My degrees are in geology and chemistry. I went to two universities, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and then University of Texas. It prepared me for something that I really didn't expect. Once I got out into the energy field, they actually put me into alternative energy, and I learned a lot about engineering and flow and corrosive of pipes and infrastructure and where not to drill and where not to hit a pipe. So I became very, very aware of where things are and in this world, and the importance of where things are in this world.
Very good. Okay. And this is to all of you, and we can start with Mr. Alex. Mr. Alex, how did you know you wanted to be in the field that you have chosen? Share that with me again. I missed that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was always interested in electronics, and I guess the kind of funny story about it is I had a few friends of ours in town that I was going to high school with. We all started putting sound systems in our cars. So we'd drive around. We were the annoying kids that would drive around with the big bass subwoofers and everything like that.
All right.
Uh, so we just kind of made our own little unofficial club there, and we started learning how to install that stuff, and that's where it got me intrigued in electricity and the engineering side of it. So I just found that fascinating, and it just kind of continued on from there. That's what led me to go to get the degree that I went after, and then kind of ultimately ended me up in the company that I'm with. So it just took something that was fun that I like to do and figured out how to make money doing it. So.
Good deal. Good deal. And then, Mr. Josh, you told us that you started out in finance and then
Yeah.
discovered that finance was not for you. So I'm assuming that because your father, this was the business that your father was in, this is the business that you decided when you discovered that finance and a suit was not the way to go. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up helping out dad, all my teenage years and all. So I've always leaned towards that, but sometimes we have an ideal thought that we're going to be, more, I guess, white collar, successful in a different venture. And I'm sure some of it was in spite of my dad a little bit. I wanted to do something different, but
Okay.
you know, just went to school. Took me 6 years for a 4-year degree, and I wasn't real big on school, and I wasn't real good at suit and tie every day, and so I just kind of decided that I had to find something that fit my attributes a little bit better. It's hard to put a square peg in a round hole, no matter how hard you try, and sometimes you just have to spend a few years finding what you're suited for.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good. And Mr. Bartz, did you always know that engineering was where you wanted to be?
No, just the opposite. Both my brothers were chemists. I wasn't a bad chemist. I actually have 4 patents. But I didn't want to be in the lab. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to get my hands on things, and I really didn't know it until I was out there in geology, and I was working with geothermal, and I had to talk to engineers on what size pipe, where to set it, how deep, what we were drilling through. And I said, well, this is fascinating stuff that I never thought that I would have any interest. I didn't have any formal education on it. And then the corporation just started turning to me more because I had this dual credit, and I just took on more and more engineering tasks as I continued through my career.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So, Mr. Josh, this is your company. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I own
And
it. Good or bad, I own it.
okay. Could you share with us the name of your company and then tell us what a typical day is like with your company?
The name of the company is the GCH Construction Group. I guess the thing I can say is that there's no real typical day. You really honestly have no idea what's going to happen until you wake up, start checking email, and find out what the challenges of the day present. I think that's probably what I like more than my original major. Putting on a suit and tie and going to an office at 8 o'clock in the morning, I kind of could predict what was going to happen that day. Stock market was going to be up or down. Somebody was going to call me wanting to buy something or sell something. It was pretty simple. There is no typical day for me. Today I can give you an example. Prior to this call, I've been to 4 job sites in 3 different counties. So you don't know what the day is going to hold. And I think that's kind of the challenge I like, is that I really don't feel like every day is Groundhog Day. It's not mundane. There's always something new. So.
And so you do commercial and residential.
I do very little commercial. The only commercial I do is restaurants and bars. Everything else is high-end residential.
Okay. Yeah, because I had the pleasure of seeing, I think, a door you did on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Yeah, so I've had the pleasure of seeing some of your work
Well, I
online.
appreciate that.
Not a problem. Okay, Mr. Alex, is there a typical day at Encore for you?
Yeah, so today describes kind of my typical day. The day is there's a hurricane coming, and there's a possibility of 100,000 people being out of power. So, what are we going to do to prepare for it? So that's almost a typical day. um, but in Encore, it's just like it was just now said. You're not going to have every day has its own challenges. So. We have construction crews that are building infrastructure and serving the community to, every time there's a new building constructed or a new house built, they need power to serve them. So a big portion of what we do is new construction and building new facilities to feed our customers in our area. The second part of it is power restoration. So the other part, we have the customers we're currently serving, if there's any outages that impact their service, we have to respond to it and make sure that we get the lights back on. So there's a whole lot of things that go into play to make that happen. And every day, it's rare that we run into the same situation. It's always something different when it comes to all the number of customers that we have.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Bartz, did I hear you say something about CAD? Did you make
Yeah, well, actually, geospatial technology, I guess, is a little similar to CAD. CAD is generally, as I look at it, it is sort of where are the walls, where are the doors, and everything else. GIS complements it in that it actually maps the interior instead of the walls, and then the attributes what are inside. So you can put all your assets. You can route people through your buildings. You can monitor your buildings. You can design your buildings, etc. So geospatial technology, particularly, is sort of like a dynamic CAD that takes CAD and puts it into the real world setting in 3D. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Josh, you said you talked about some of your personal qualities and attributes, and you talked about how your personal qualities and your personal attributes were not cohesive to the suit environment. So you had to find an environment that was better suited for your personal qualities and your personal abilities. And I guess construction was that area. So if you were speaking to a student and they said, what qualities, what abilities, what do I need to make me successful in the construction industry? What qualities or abilities would you say that they would need to be successful in that industry?
Wow. I guess I would say resiliency. Construction is going to hand you difficult things from time to time. And if you don't have the resiliency to get through those problems and solve those problems, you're just not going to make it. It's one of those things that you either love what you do and you're willing to, at 10 o'clock at night, field emails and calls and assess issues, or you're not. And if you're not, you're just not going to be able to make it. It's really just an environment that you've just got to be resilient. You've got to be able to take on challenges daily that, may kind of get the best of you from time to time. So I'd say resiliency, organization's a pretty big deal. You've got to be pretty organized about what you're doing. Everything in the construction industry is a domino effect. If you miss a domino, everything's going to fall. And once your timelines are skewed on a given project, it's just madness to try to put all the pieces back together. So you've got to be extremely organized about, your timelines, your time frames, material procurement, all of those things. You just have to be extremely organized at all times.
All right, very good. And I heard you say timelines, and I heard you say your money. So I guess if I were asking, what are some other or some key positions or jobs in the construction industry, what would be some key positions or jobs that
Well, we hire project managers all the time. I've got a junior project manager who's finishing up his degree at UNT right now, who his field of study is emergency management of all things. And he will probably at some point continue down that field path, but right now he's getting some experience in the construction industry and the challenges that presents. To me, it's a matter of dedication and the willingness to work, and project management's an ultimate goal. I'm a big believer in starting from the ground up in construction. I had a degree in finance, and I walked on the job site thinking I was going to be top dog because my dad owned the company, and here I come. And the first thing I got was a shovel put in my hand, and I was asking him how to turn it on, and I got to dig ditches and do all those fun things, pull wire and cut boards, and I roofed, and I've done it all. But I'm a big believer that if you haven't done every aspect of the job that you're trying to be a boss or in management, if you haven't hands-on done it before, it's very difficult to try to tell people how to do things if you don't have hands-on experience with it. So, the expectation is that you get your hands dirty in my profession. I'll tell you right now, I've got a project we're wrapping up, and I don't have a painter available right now. And as soon as we get off this little chit chat, I'm gonna be headed back to the shop painting 4 cabinet doors and installing them this evening because I made a promise to my client that we'd be done today. So it takes the willingness to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
All right. And so you said project management, project manager, and estimators. How key are they?
My project managers pretty much do all our estimating.
Okay.
Residential is a little bit different than commercial. Commercial, you can hire out estimation companies or sub that out. I do know that there's some great trade schools out there. Some of them, I don't know if the Dallas Community College has them, but for HVAC and electrical and some of those licensed trades, and those guys are making, I've seen guys making 6 figures in those fields. They may be blue collar, but they're making really good livings. And, I think there's a significant shortage of skilled labor. I think that is probably one of the biggest challenges I have, is the fact that just like this, 15 years ago, we wouldn't be on a video call. I mean, everything it wasn't so technological. So guys did go get in trades, and they learned how to be a carpenter, an electrician, or a plumber. And a lot of our really good youth who are smart people have ventured away from those skilled trades. So for us, it's, we get somebody who's good, and man, I will hang on to them. I will cook them dinner. I will do their laundry. I will do whatever they need, if they're good, because, there's a lot to be said for that. So there's a lot of advancement in those skills. I don't, like I say, I don't get into estimation. I deal with engineers a lot. I deal with, guys who do a lot of CAD drafting and things like that. And I know that those guys are very profitable, but I just don't do any of that in-house. I sub all that out to people. So.
Okay. All right, Mr. Alex, same question to you. What kind of qualities, what kind of abilities does a person need to have to be successful at Encore?
Well, now,
Or your
in
position?
addition to, well, no, in addition to that, I mean, I thought the points Josh made were very, very good.
Okay.
Especially in the utility industry, we
Mhm.
are just nationwide. We are very short on experienced people in the utility industry because it's such a very specialized area, and it's not something that everybody's just running out to be. You know, it's the newer generation doesn't really see that. So along with the resiliency, it was mentioned is a willingness to learn. So not just in Encore, but the overall utility industry, where you enter into the company is more than likely not going to be where you end up.
Okay.
So, so my career path, I started out in substation construction. So I came in. I had an engineering applied engineering degree in automation robotics, and I showed up much like Josh. I show up, and then they hand me a shovel to run some conduit, and they have me climbing up on things, and I'm like, well, that's not what I went to school for. But yeah, I started out in that construction. I learned a whole lot. I found out how much I didn't know.
Okay.
And so I learned a lot about that position. Then I transitioned into the technician group, which is more of on the application of the engineering. Then I moved over into operational management, and now I'm over the control room center. So I'm kind of I've changed career paths a few times within the company, and it's all it's completely different from where I started. So willingness to adapt and continuing to learn is the biggest thing I would say, because the technology changes so fast, especially with the data analytics that we do. The old way of doing things, everything used to be on paper graphs and paper meters, and you'd have to kind of read those signals and determine what that was telling you. Now everything's on a computer. Now everything's on a data file that you have to analyze. So just constantly learning and adapting with the changing industry is my biggest thing that students would need to focus on.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. So you have told us, Mr. Alex, that you're not in the position that you started out in. That you said they handed you a shovel, that just like they handed Mr. Josh a shovel. And so, and you said be willing to change because things have changed. And you said you are now in the control room. Is that what you said? The control room?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so what do you do now that you're in the control room?
So I oversee all of our distribution system operators. So our control room, we monitor. Like I said, we have there's two parts of our company. There's the transmission bulk electric system that sends the high voltage power out across the state to the towns, and then once it gets out to the towns in the different areas, the distribution system takes that voltage at a slightly lower level and spreads it out to the neighborhoods. And then you'll see it on after the transformers, it goes down and feeds the individual houses and businesses. So typically when you think of Encore, you think of the bucket truck on the side of the road, working on the poles out there. So that is one aspect of our company, but there are literally hundreds of jobs in the company that we have to utilize to keep the lights on and to serve our customers.
Okay. Okay, we got somebody who needs to mute. Okay. You both of Mr. John, I must be doing something wrong. Hold on, let me see. Okay, Mr. Josh and Mr. Alex said that there is demand for individuals with skills in your fields, both of them. Is that correct? Mr. Josh,
Correct.
I think you said that there are some individuals, or there is a demand for individuals with specified skills. Is that what you said, Mr. Josh?
Can y'all hear me? No.
Okay.
See, this is why I don't mess with computers right here.
When you
How's
said
that?
that there were individuals that there was a demand for a certain individuals that didn't have the skills, or could you share with me again what those individuals, those positions are?
Me?
Oh, Mr. Alex? Okay, I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Okay, I can't hear anybody now.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump on this question while Josh is getting set back up.
Are
Okay,
we
Um,
thank
good?
you. All right, all right. Go ahead, Mr. Alex, and then we'll hear from Mr. Josh.
yeah, so the specific skills would be the fundamentals of electricity and electronics. So once if you can learn just that aspect of it, kind of like similar to the DCCC colleges. I've talked with a lot of them, and looked over I've talked with the instructors down there, and
Okay.
the base information that they're teaching there, if you can learn and master that's going to make you very valuable, not just in the power utility industry, but a lot of other industries in the country. Um, so along with the basic electronics core and understanding how electricity and electronics work, there's also the understanding of the power distribution. There's different there's a big difference between an electronic circuit board that you're putting components on and a high voltage distribution system. So the fundamental aspects of it are similar, but the manner in which the systems work are significant, and along with it is increased amount of danger. So to go along with the understanding of the philosophy of electricity, you also got to understand the safety aspect of it. And I think that goes with whether you're in construction, or any other kind of industry where you're dealing with machinery, equipment, or uh, uh, different mediums of energy. You have to understand safety, what it means to you on your job, what it means to you in the environment that you're working in, and what it means to you as impacts to the public. So we also have to understand that not just keeping our employees safe at Encore, we also got to understand what we're doing to make sure we keep the public safe, and keeping the power grid up and running also has a overall impact to society. I mean, you can just imagine what would happen if the entire city of Dallas went dark, right? So
Yeah.
you got to understand the gravity of what it is you're doing in the industry that you're in, and all the potential impacts that have to go along with it.
All right. And then, Mr. Josh, you said there were some demands or some needs of some positions in your industry. Could you share with us what those are?
Well, I think the construction industry as a whole has a pretty significant need for manpower, be it skilled trades, be it management, be it whoever. The construction industry has taken over the past probably 15 years has lost a lot of um, our workforce to other sectors of business. So it's really a shortage. It's actually when we have all these conferences and all that kind of board meetings and all sorts of stuff, one of the primary topics is just a shortage of people in the industry. who want to get into the industry. It's construction has been around since the beginning of man, right? We've always built something somewhere, and it's never going away. It's not one of these fields that if you get into, you don't, that all of a sudden it's just going to dissipate on you. It's always going to be there.
Yeah.
It can take you anywhere. I had a project manager that worked for me for about 15 years ago, and I talked to him yesterday, and he is now the vice president of one of the largest commercial condo developers on the Gulf Coast. And he started out sawing and nailing boards and knocking on people's doors and talking to them about their little bathroom renovation or whatever. But he started there with me, and now he's probably making more money than I do at this point. But he, you just don't know where it's going to go. If you stay true to your craft and you are always open to opportunity, it can go anywhere for you. I've chosen to stay where I'm at because I love the work itself. I love building homes. I love interacting with people inside their home and making them happy and all those kind of things. So I've chosen to stay where I'm at. But I've had many people who've come through, learned from me, and my hope is that none of my project managers actually stay with me more than 5 years or so. I want them to learn what they need to learn, and then I want them to move on to something else. I want them to expand their opportunities. So.
All right. All right, Mr. Bartz, I haven't spoken to you in a minute. So if a student has chosen to go into your field, what kind of entry-level jobs should they be looking for?
Well, our students right now, we're out of our program, are enjoying a 90% placement, and they are going out into all aspects of municipalities, because engineering again, into engineering firms, into social studies, a lot of things. When you decide that you're going to be a member of the team on engineering or anything else, and you're going to be dealing with something like a CAD type operation, which, like I say, GIS is sort of advanced CAD. You play a very important role, because your team that's out there in the field has to know where to do something. Is there enough room inside of that building to place something in that particular spot that you're putting it there? So it's a very important job. You have to be aware of right-of-way rules. You have to be aware of what's underground a lot of times. So our students are in very good demand. Currently we're getting about $43,000 a year for a AAS, which is actually 5 semesters at Brookhaven.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, sir. Okay, and so Mr. Alex said you started out in a position, but that's not where you ended up. They should be willing to change and willing to learn. So what type of entry-level positions at Encore, if a person finishes up the electronics or the electronics technology or electrical technology degree or certification, what kind of position should they be looking for at Encore?
Well, so we have a couple different recruiting groups.
Ooh, froze.
Yeah, we lost him.
Uh-oh. Man down, man down.
Man down, man down.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. We lost
Okay,
him for a second.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
I don't know how much you caught. I'll just kind of kick back up again. So we got recruiting teams that are looking for electrical based kind of associate's degrees, and there's a wide array of positions. You can start out as a utility designer. Essentially, kind of like was mentioned by Jerry about the GIS system. So we have GIS systems that we kind of we maintain and we design out of, and the utility designers would talk to the new customers that need to have their had to need to have power served to them. So they would they would look at the infrastructure, build their job in the GIS system. They would estimate the cost of their project, and we would find a way to serve them their electricity needs. We have substation electricians that that's where I started out in the company. You're working in the power substations and you're building the equipment, you're performing maintenance on the equipment and performing switching operations. There's environmentalists and department where they kind of handle all the hazardous waste and moving of equipment around. There's logistics positions where we have all of our service centers have storerooms that receive and receive material and distribute it out to the construction crews building everything. I'm just going the positions I'm hiring for in the control room. We got system operators that are monitoring all of our power monitoring systems and dispatching events as they come through. We receive emergency events or we receive outage events. We send the first responders out to get the lights back on, or construction crews to repair facilities if storms came through. So that's just kind of just a tip of the iceberg of some of our positions. Also, we have engineering, technician groups. We got communications. So it's a wide array of positions that we're looking for.
Okay. All right. And then, Mr. Josh, how would you advise a person who was coming out with their AAS in construction management? What type of positions do you advise them to look for?
We start out with junior project managers. Most of those guys I'm hiring, actually, a lot of them are still in college. They're either they're tending to be seniors, finishing up their given degree, working part-time in a project management role, something like that. Then once you get out, the best thing you can do is, I guess, at least residential construction is pretty old school. It's knock on doors, shake hands, look people in the eye, all those kind of things, and start looking for project management opportunities. And sometimes the opportunities that you get may not necessarily be what you were anticipating right out of the box, but like Alex said, he started out as in the construction field for Encore. Sometimes just getting your foot in the door with a company makes all the difference. I know there's a lot of people who tend to think, well, that's beneath me, or that's not what I was anticipating on doing, or something right out of school. Sometimes getting your foot in the door and showing them what you're made of makes all the difference in the world. It really does. I can't preach that enough, that there's not an opportunity that you shouldn't always look at thoroughly. I tell people all the time, one of the biggest houses I built was about a $10 million house here in Highland Park. And the reason I got it was because the house they were previously living in, I was remodeling the next door neighbor's kitchen. And they saw me there every day, and they saw how hard I was working, and that I kept my job sites immaculate, and that, I was always coming next door and asking them, hey, were you abiding by the rules as far as when we should be working, and all of those kind of things. An opportunity, there's always opportunity, and sometimes it's not where you see it. Just getting your foot in the door, get out of school and go to work and see where those opportunities takes you is the best advice I can give anyone.
All right. All right. Anybody have any questions for our panel? I don't want to call you out. I see your name. I don't want to call you out. Any questions for our panel today? Okay, well, I'm going to do a little exercise here. Give me a moment. Let's
I already
see.
went to the gym this morning.
Ah, it's not that kind of exercise. It's not that kind of exercise. It's an
So you
exercise.
didn't disclose this before we agreed to doing it.
Right. I
It's
get enough manual labor in.
for your mind. All right, so identify the word or statement associated with the image and enter them in the chat box with the number. So these are statements in the form of pictures. So we're gonna. I forgot my my Jeopardy music, but okay, very good. No good TV. Okay, Mr. Guy. So we have number 1, 2, and 3, and I'm gonna give you a few more minutes to try to figure it out. Good, Sarah. What number is that? You put rose-colored glasses. That's very good. What number? Put your numbers in there so I can know. Yes. Very good. Okay, so now you have to get all 3. So so far we have rose-colored glasses and no good TV in the chat. Mr. Guy did it correctly. 1, no good. Over the storm. 3, no. Through the storm. No.
I feel like working for the power company. I should know the answer to this one. But
This is why it took me 6 years to get a degree right here. This exercise right here. I got PTSD looking at stuff like this.
Okay. All right. Are y'all giving? Let me see. Sarah, are y'all giving up on me? Tell me you're not giving up on me. Y'all giving up on me? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So here we go. Let me see. Number 1, storm, thunder, thunderstorm.
Oh,
Okay.
thunderstorm.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing good on TV. That's number 1. Number 2, yes, rose-colored glasses. That was correct. Rose-colored glasses. And number 3 was thunderstorm. So I was gonna give y'all a little gift card to Starbucks, but nobody got all of the answers correct. So I get to keep my money. Oh no, we're not doing another one. I'm sorry.
Woo! Thank you. My head's hurting.
Okay, but I do that, you all, because we prepare students for entering the world of work. Some employers have informed us we have competencies, And one of the things that employers said that they are finding with entry-level workers is that they don't have the ability for critical thinking. Okay, so I do these little exercises to make their minds work. They say they don't have, they encounter a problem, and instead of having a way to really try to figure out what the problem is and how to work through the problem, they don't really have those skills. So I do these to make them think and make them exercise their minds in hopes that it will develop their critical thinking and problem solving skills. So that's the reason I do these. And Mr. Josh said, "Oh, I got so trying to exercise their mind, trying to work with them to get them ready for the world of work." And so that's what the employers say, that they don't have the critical thinking or problem solving skills. So throw these little exercises at them to maybe get their minds working and to try to figure things out. Okay, Ashley says, Jerry mentioned learning where pipes were located and where not to drill. Sounded like he had an interesting story. Can he share? Sure. Sure.
Well, okay. The most interesting story, and again, it comes with getting into environmental, where you have leaks, and eventually you get leaks whenever you have underground utilities. And what is critical is when you have underground utilities is where they're located. Particularly, you don't want to start doing construction on a road site or to the side of a road, which is fairly common also, and have your backhoe run into a pipe full of Encore's gas, So you don't want to cut electrical lines, you don't want to cut gas lines. You really have to know where those utilities are and how to find them off of drawings. And when you put them back in, as we're doing now on our campus, we actually shoot them in with a very good GPS, and we're probably good to, I would say, 1/100th of an inch on the center of a pipe. Where we're really hurting, though, is when we go to the vertical dimensions. We don't have that kind of a control on it, but it's getting a little better. We're probably about to a 1/10 of a foot on where a pipe is at depth. Did I answer the question?
Miss Ashley?
I'll second your thoughts on that. I don't think that there's a month that doesn't go by that we receive a call that somebody dug into a power line, and it's very common that people don't do their normal checks like they're supposed to. You're supposed to, go get locates done and everything like that, and even the quality of locates sometimes is not very sufficient to where you get a little bit off of the locate, or you think you have a little bit of wiggle room, and sure enough, you get in the ground and you hit something.
And I can tell you from boots on the ground experience, I have hit gas lines, I have hit electrical lines, I have hit fiber lines, I have hit you name it. Sometimes I pay a stupid tax because I didn't call ahead, and sometimes the locates are wrong. But I can tell you I haven't hit a line in probably 10 years, which leads me to believe the technology is getting better as far as the location actually goes. So that's nice because good old Encore will let you pay for it too when you hit an electrical line. They'll send you a bill. So
well, that's what I was about to ask. You need to let us know where you're working so we can see what's going on.
It is. I've dealt with it a lot, and actually, I can tell you that the technology's gotten better because I haven't hit one in probably 10 years now, which is kind of nice.
Very good. All right.
I just want to mention.
Okay. Oh, Sarah says she had a question for Josh. Do you have any advice for a 30-year-old female with only basic self-taught carpentry knowledge, but wanting to get into the home building remodeling? She says, I hate admitting it's a little intimidating to just hop into a contracting team.
You know, that's the best thing you can do, believe it or not, as intimidating as it may be. And I know I work in a very male dominated field and all of those kind of things, but hop in there and rock and roll. I mean, when I started, I had just spent summers working with Dad, and I learned everything by just getting in there and figuring it out. You will mess things up. Everybody does, but the best thing you can do is literally you know, um, find a company that you are comfortable with, people you communicate well with, all of those kind of things, and then just learn from your mistakes and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second that also, because I know, we really encourage diversity in our workforce, and I can say within the last 10 years there has been an increase in it's been a male dominated industry, and there has been an increase in women in our workforce doing historically all male dominated tasks. So there's technicians. We've actually had some women become linemen. You think that it's very manly kind of, okay, I'm a guy, I'm going to climb the pole, and they've been successful doing that as well. So that's the biggest thing I always encourage everybody. Sometimes the fear of doing something unknown just stops you from being successful. Do not be afraid. Go in there and go after it.
Yeah, everything's achievable, and it's all, just jump in there and get after it.
Okay. All right. Any additional questions? All right, very good. Anybody else have any questions for our panel? All right. Well, we are approaching the 3 o'clock hour. I would like to thank Mr. Alex and Mr. Josh and Mr. Bartz for being with us today and for sharing with our students. Again, we will be recording. This is in, we are recording this, and we will be uploading it for students for any future questions or concerns that they have. So again, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate the time you took out to be with us today and to answer our students' questions and to share your journey to your career choice. If there is anything that the North Lake campus or the Mountain View campus for Dallas College can do to assist you with identifying people to work for you, please feel free to contact us, and we'll do everything we can to get you meshed with those great students of ours. So again, thanks very much, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it. Thank
Thank you. Yes. All right, so let me stop recording.